Shalom, beloved. Shalom, shalom. It's good to be back again. We are carrying on with Back to Basics. In this series on the Back to Basics is we are talking about the restoration of the Torah, going back to the Torah, which is the standard of true worship and righteous living. So I think we are going to try and do it in a slightly different way from the way that we started. Okay, we had started to look at the first commandment and look at the statutes of that commandment. But I want us to make a proper introduction so that we can reorganize our study. So before we even look at the particular laws in the Torah, I want us to study the Torah itself and come to an understanding of what does the scripture say about the Torah. So that's where we are starting. I'll start with reading from the book of Revelation in chapter 14, verse 1. It says, this is according to textual evidence in the old texts. And I looked, lo, a lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his name and his father's name written in their foreheads. Right. So Revelation 14:1 is talking about a group of people, the 144,000, having his name and the father's name. Right. So that's what we get from this text. So the 144,000 have got his name and the father's name. Now let's go to Revelation chapter 7. Right. Revelation chapter 7 will shed more light on this number of the 144 that is being talked about in Revelation chapter 14. Verse 1 says, and after these things I saw 4 messengers standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. So the text is showing us a period in time, right? Which, as far as I'm concerned, we are already in that time. But maybe a few years back, when you could read this, you would say it is in the future. But I can confidently say we are in this time where the winds are being held back. What is wind in scripture? Wind in scripture is strife, it's commotion, it's wars, it's upheavals. Those are represented by wind in the scriptures. So in this time, this is the time that we are living in, where Yahweh is holding back the winds from blowing on the earth and bring about huge strifes, huge upheavals, and bring about commotion in the world. It's just being held back. But we can see with what is happening now that the winds could just be unleashed upon this earth. But Yahweh is holding it back for a reason, for a purpose. Verse 2 says, and I saw another messenger ascending from the east, having the seal of the living Elohim. Right. So whilst the wind is being held back, then there is another messenger coming from the east. And this messenger has got the seal of the living Elohim. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 messengers to whom it was given to hurt the earth and sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our Elohim in their foreheads. So there is a seal to be put in the foreheads of the servants of our Elohim. Now, we don't want to assume things. The scriptures, they always explain themselves. So what is sealing? According to Yeshayahu, Isaiah chapter 8, verse 16, listen to this. Listen to this very carefully. It says, bind up the testimony, seal the Torah among my disciples. So, according to this text, what is sealed in the disciples or in the taught ones, right, of Yahweh is the testimony, is the Torah, right? It is the seal, right? That is going to be because the Torah is also a testimony. It is a witness, right? The Torah itself is a testimony, and it is a witness, and this is to be bound up in the disciples of Yahweh. Now, just before the 7 last plagues, Yahweh will seal his people. Now, when are the last plagues? When you go to Hazoni, Revelation 21, verse 9, and there came unto me one of the 7 messengers, which had the 7 vials, full of the 7 last plagues, and they talked with me, saying, come hither, I will show thee the bride, the Lamb's wife. So when you continue reading, you are going to see the Jerusalem, the new Jerusalem, descending from heaven, right? So she is dressed like a bride. That's the bride that Yahweh is showing to Yahanan the prophet. So that vision that he had, it was happening or taking place just before the 7 last plagues. We see that the people of Yahweh have got to be sealed just before the last plagues have fallen. Now, what is this seal? This seal is not a mark that can be seen. As we often hear people talk about a mark, you are going to be drawn as 666 on your forehead. You know, that's the interpretation that many have got there. But this is not a mark that can be seen, but it is a settling into the truth. So the seal of Yahweh is a settling into the truth, both intellectually and spiritually, so that we are not moved by the winds of strange doctrines. Now, what is the truth? The scripture says, thy Torah is the truth, right? The Torah of Yahweh is the truth. So settling into the truth is settling into the Torah of Yahweh. The Torah alone of all the scriptures contains the seal of the great lawgiver. Now that is the creator of the heavens and the earth. This seal of Elohim is placed upon those who conscientiously keep the Sabbath of Yahweh. That is the Sabbath of the 4th commandment and its associated festal Shabbats that you find in Waikarara 23, Leviticus 23. It is those whose characters are in conformity with this standard of heaven. Those who seek the truth, those who are coming out of the religious Babylonian systems of worship that are here on this earth and settling into the spiritual journey with Yahweh, though it is those who are being sealed. So being sealed is settling into the truth, and the truth is the Torah, and the Torah is the light, right? The Torah is the light that shines in our paths so that we may walk righteously, so that we may walk according to the instructions of the one who has created us. Is that getting in? And so we see, right, that this sealing is going to take place or already taking place amongst those who are Yahweh's people. So why do we say that the sealing is already taking place? Or it has already taken place, right? Because we can see the upheavals taking place on the earth. And we can hear what America is saying. America, which is part of the beast system, right? America, which is part of the beast system, that is one of the greatest powers on earth, including the Catholic Church, which is also the worldwide power that determines what happens on this earth itself. And America, and the devil himself, comprise of the beast system that is going to force conscience on people. And already as we speak right now, they are already pushing for laws to force people to become Christians. But Yah does not work that way. He does not force. He wants you to make a choice for yourself and choose what you would rather do. And Yahweh says, choose this day whom you will worship. And then he goes on to say, in the book of Yeshekel, I would rather have you choose life than death. He says, come, let's reason together. He wants to reason with you, and he wants you to choose that which is beneficial for you. He does not force. He is not a dictator. No. But this other system will make laws to force your conscience so that you follow what they say. Now they are coming in a religious garb, right? To mislead the world by saying that they want to enforce reading of the scriptures in the schools. Teachers must teach scriptures from the Bibles. They want to force that by a decree of law. Yet we are told from the scriptures themselves that choosing this way, choosing to obey Yahweh, choosing to live his life is a personal choice that must come to someone without undue pressure on them in making that decision. That's how Yahweh works. Yahweh does not work by force. So we hear them. Now they are talking in America. Even the Trumps and the many groups that are there in America, 2025 group, they are all talking about forcing the scriptures and the commandments in the schools. And yet, the commandments that they want to force, they don't want to force the correct scriptural commandments, which say that the Sabbath is the seventh day of the week. They want to enforce Sunday as a Sabbath, going against what the scriptures have said. And so we can see that there's a counterfeit religious system that is being enforced on this earth so that people can end up worshiping the devil. Because if you don't worship according to Yahweh's standards, you are worshiping Ashatan. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. If you don't worship Yahweh according to his instructions of worship, then any other counterfeit worship, any worship that deviates from that which he has said, it's devil worship. It's demonic. And so that's what the devil is pushing for through the powers of this earth. So we hear them. We know where this is leading to. And we know that when these powers start to force these things, Yahweh is not silent in his kingdom. He is showing his people the truth, and he is revealing to his people the correct standards that he has designed himself. So because the 144 must be sealed before the mark of the beast is edged, right? The 144 must be sealed now. Because the mark of the beast is going to be edged. We don't know. It will probably be next year, 2025. Or 2030. We don't know. But what we know for a fact is that they are pushing hard to make Sunday a set-apart day. I did European Sunday Alliance maybe close to 10 years back. And it was already there in papers in Europe or in their constitutions in Europe. It's already there. And they are going to enforce it at some point. And so the 144 must be sealed now, so that they will be able to stand during the great time of trouble, so that they will be able to preach the message of truth to the people, so that people will have both sides of the message, so that they can make their own choices. Which means the only reason why the winds are not being blown or let loose is because we are not yet ready. We just must be ready. And when we have become ready, Yahweh will let loose the winds on the earth, and the 7 last plagues, which are his wrath, which are his judgments on this earth, will then start to fall upon this earth. But those plagues will not come until and unless all the people have been given the chance to make their choices. And that is happening now, and Yahweh is pouring his spirit upon his people, so that the message of truth may go to the ends of the earth with power and clarity. And anyone who is willing to hear this message, the message of restoration of true worship and righteous living, anyone who wants to hear this message, they will have to make a choice for life. Not for religions, not for Christianity, not for churches, but for the truth, which is the standard that Yahweh has given himself. So the process of the sealing of the 144 is taking place when you look at the events that are happening. When you look at the amount of truth Yahweh has revealed to those who have been listening and who were prepared to hear him speak to them. He has revealed tremendous truths that we didn't know prior to 2009. And since then, up to now, there is so much truth that Yahweh has revealed. And that truth makes a whole lot of difference from the religious way of worshiping that we have been stuck in for years and years. And that really gives me confidence that this is the message of truth, and this message will awaken the earth, and many will choose life. So the process is the settling in the truth of his servants. That's where we are right now. When his servants have settled into the truth, then they will have to preach that truth, teach that truth to the ends of the earth, and the people hear that truth. Just like on the day of Pentecost, the message of truth must be preached. And when it has been preached, people have got to make their choices. That is going to happen. That is happening even now as I am speaking to you. So it is only the mercy of Elohim that has kept the laws that force conscience, religious laws that force the worship of the beast, right? Yah has kept the system from plunging us into that mayhem by holding back the winds so that we can have time so that to settle into the truth, so that the time of trouble such as never was is going to be brought upon this earth only as we have settled into the truth, only as we have understood the truth, only as we will have made a choice for the truth. And then the time of trouble, such as never was, ever, they will then fall onto this earth. And I must tell you, beloved, that time is not far. That time is now. We are in it. We are in it. And it will fall upon us. Many are unaware what is happening. Now listen to the prophet Yeshayahu, Isaiah, in chapter 8, verse 16, where I've read this verse, says, bind up the witness or the testimony and seal the Torah among my taught ones or my disciples, right? As the other version says. So verse 20 says, to the Torah and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So Yahweh is saying, seal the Torah in my disciples, right? And whatever they may speak, whatever they may say, whatever they may do, it must be according to the Torah. And if it doesn't happen according to the Torah, which is the first 5 books from Genesis to Deuteronomy, from Bereshit to Devarim, these books are called the Torah. And within these books, you find the law of Yahweh, you find the standards of Yahweh, you find the instructions of Yahweh, how he wants to be worshipped and how he wants us to live one with the other. And these instructions don't change because of the stake or the so-called cross. These instructions of worship and righteous living, they remain forever and ever, for the Torah is forever and ever. The truth is forever and ever. Truth has not changed. It is not affected with time. Truth remains consistent as it is truth. So you cannot tamper with the truth. Truth does not change, but people change. That's how it is. So now, what seals that Torah? What seals the Torah in the disciples or in the taught ones? Ephesians chapter 4 verse 30, it says, and grieve not the set apart spirit, that is the Ruach HaKadosh, right? And scripture tells us that Elohim, the Father, is spirit. And those that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. And Yahweh Shai says, it is beneficial for you that I must go right into the Shamayim, so that I will come not as a human being who is limited by his body, but I will come down to you as a spirit, and then he will work in all of us. So who do we want to dwell in us? We want the Son and the Father to dwell in us, for that's what the Son said. So when the Father and the Son come and abide in us, then the Spirit is in us. The set apart spirit is not a third God, as what Christianity teaches. No, it's not scriptural. It's demonic. It comes straight from the pits of hell. There is no Trinity in the scriptures. The revealed nature of the Most High is that we have a Father who is a spirit, and he gives birth to a Son who is supposed to be born of a woman, so that he can come down to our level to interact with us, so that we may be saved for the Father. So the Son is given as a lamb that is supposed to die for the sins of the beloved creatures of Yahweh. And the Son is in the same form as his Father. That is why he comes back again to the earth as spirit, as his Father is also spirit. So that you cannot create a third being out of their very existence, their intrinsic existence. How do you separate yourself from your spirit? Where has that happened before? So you can see that the teaching of Trinity is demonic, and it does not make sense. And it goes on even to say that they are equal. The Father and the Son, they are equal. Yet the Son clearly teaches that the Father is greater. How do you change the scriptures? Trying to manufacture your own doctrines. There's no equality between the Father and the Son. The Father was there first, because it is the Father that brought forth the Son. I didn't say the Son was created. He was brought forth, the only born of the Father. That's how it is. When you look at the creation of man and woman, there is an image. It's an image of the existence of the Father and the Son. Right? The woman is brought forth from the very same material of the man. In other words, the woman was in the man even before she could be revealed or she could manifest. So the same applies with the Son. That's what scripture says. Let us make man in our own image, after our own likeness. So what that means is the existence of man mimics the existence of their maker in every respect. We must read scriptures and understand. lest we build our own doctrines. So the Ruach HaKadosh, the set apart spirit of Elohim, is the one that settles the truth in us, right? So what is his spirit? His spirit is his power, his spirit is his wisdom, his spirit is his love. So the spirit is the nature of the being, right? When people say you've got a bad spirit, what they mean is that your character is bad. So the spirit is the character, the spirit is the power. So it is these attributes of Yahweh that help us so that we can understand the truth, so that we can settle into the truth. Yah is the one that teaches us, he reveals to us that which is truth. So the Torah, in order to be understood, must be unpacked by the Ruach HaKadosh in us and teach us to understand the truth, the Torah as it is truthful. You don't come with your own understandings. And anyway, the instructions of the Torah are very clear. They are very, very clear. They are not like prophecies where you get symbols and all that. They see a beast, they see what Daniel and company. They see things that you may not be unable to decipher. But when you look at the instructions of the Torah, Barashit to Devarim, those are just straightforward instructions that each and every one of us is capable to understand. You don't need an interpreter. You don't interpret the Torah. You take as is, because it's an instruction unto life. So, yes, the Ruach HaKadosh is the one that interprets or that reveals the Torah to us. I'll continue reading from Azon verse 14 and 6. It says, "And I saw another messenger flying in the midst of heaven." Revelation 14 verse 6 and 7. It's talking about the restoration of true worship and righteous living. It says, "And I saw another messenger flying in mid-heaven, holding the everlasting Besorah to announce to those dwelling on the earth, even to every nation and tribe and tongue and people." So the good news is coming to the whole earth. Everyone must hear the good news. And Yahweh has purposed that each and every one of his creatures, his son or daughter, each and every one that has been created in his image, each and every one of them, because he loves them, he wants them to hear this message so that they may make a choice to enter into the eternal kingdom. So that's why this message is cutting across geographical boundaries. It's cutting across language barriers. It's cutting across lands and nations. It's a message that is going worldwide. The Ruach HaKadosh will make sure this message gets to all nations and all will hear this message. It's a Pentecost experience. It's the Day of Shavuot experience. It's Joel chapter 2 verses 27 to verse 29. This is the time for the message of truth to thunder across the earth so that all will hear it. And when they've heard it, they will make a choice for the truth. What does the message say? Revelation chapter 7, chapter 14 verse 7. It then goes on to say, saying with a loud voice, "Fear Elohim and give esteem to him, because the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made the heavens and the earth and sea and fountains of water." So he must be worshipped, right? We have to fear him, but we have to give esteem to him, and we have to worship him because he is the creator of heaven and earth. Now, there is a commandment in Shemot chapter 20, Exodus chapter 20, which is called out to remember. Remember the Shabbat day to keep it set apart. Huh? Why do we keep it set apart? Because Yahweh, our Elohim, he created the heavens and the earth. Right from the beginning, in Bereshit chapter 2, After he has finished creating man, he rests, right? And set apart that time to be a sign, right? To be a sign that he is the creator of heaven and earth. And just before the earth is thrown into disarray, just before he judges the earth, again the message comes that we have to worship him because he is the creator of heaven and earth. Maybe I should just read this. It will make sense when one reads it rather than just talking about it. In Bereshit chapter 2, let me read Bereshit chapter 2. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, Elohim ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. So we see that in verse 3, Elohim barakah, or blessed the seventh day. There's no one who has power to bless any set apart time or to make any time set apart. Only the creator of time has got the power to do so. And the scripture tells me that Yah blessed the seventh day and set it apart, right? Because that in it he had rested from all his work which Elohim created and made. Do you hear that? He has set the time apart to commemorate the creation that he has made there. And he has just finished his work of creation. And when he has finished his work of creation, he says, this time is going to be set apart because I have finished my creation. And I am going to make this time set apart. And when he is giving the Torah to our forefathers, right on Mount Sinai, he makes sure that they remember the reason why they should worship him. Besides him taking them out of the Mizraim, out of the land of bondage, besides that, Yahweh says, remember the Shabbat day. Exodus chapter 20, Shemoth chapter 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it set apart. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Shabbat of Yahweh thy Elohim. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, or thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. Why? For in 6 days Yahweh Elohim made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahweh barakah, or blessed the seventh day and made it set apart. So he sets apart this day for his special commemoration of the work that he has done, the work of creation. And again, at the end of the time, just before he judges the earth, he has got a message that he must be worshipped because he is the creator of all things. Right? So that means we worship him because he has created us and he has got a right to be worshipped. And yet he does not force that right on anyone. He wants you to choose. So this is a universal message. Like I said, it's going to leap across geographical boundaries. It is a message not restricted by language. It cuts across language barriers. It is a message flying from north to south, east to west. So this message that I am sharing with you is going to gather momentum if it is not yet. Because I know I've got brothers all over the earth who are also sharing the same message as I have here. Although we may package it differently, because Yahweh gives to each and everyone according to the way he wants. And when he has given you the message in this format, You push it and carry it forward in that format that you have been given. So will be the other. So will be the other. But the message of truth is not stagnant. It is an advancing truth that will culminate into the establishment of the kingdom. And it's coming. And it's going. Revelation 14:7 says, saying with a loud voice, fear Elohim and give esteem to him, because the hour of his judgment has come. Right? So there is supposed to be the fear of Elohim. Right? Why? Because the hour of his judgment has come. So you are not going to be judged unless you have heard this message. What is to fear Elohim? What is to fear Elohim? Is it being afraid of him, being scared of him? No. When you understand the culture, when you understand the custom, when you understand the language, fear is respect, reverence, obeying. Right? When we say we fear our parents, we don't say we are afraid of them. No. We accept their instruction and obey it and live according to their instruction. Period. So what does the scriptures say about this fear? When you go to Proverbs chapter 1 verse 7, it says, the fear of Yahweh is the beginning of knowledge. So listen to this. When you listen to your parents, right? That is the fear of your parents. When you listen to Yahweh, when you fear him, that is the beginning of knowledge. So knowledge comes only by the fear of Yahweh. Then Job 28:28 says, and he said to men, see, the fear of Yahweh is wisdom, and to turn from evil, that is understanding. Right. So when you turn from evil, again, it gives us another dimension. If you want to be wise, fear Elohim. Wisdom comes only to those that fear Elohim. That's why you find there are some very clever people on this earth who can manage to do a lot of things, but because they do not fear Elohim, they have no wisdom. And you find them making laws that fight the nature of creation. Say a man and a man can get married. A woman and a woman can get married. What stupidity is that when you can think with your mind that the biological constituents of these two beings does not allow them to do this? Yet they are very educated and they are very clever, but they have no wisdom in them. I just shake my head. I just shake my head. So when you fear Elohim, that is wisdom. And to turn from evil, that is understanding. When you hate sin, when you hate wickedness, then you are an understanding person. You are an understanding soul. When you follow the commandments of Yahweh, when you live according to his instructions, then you have wisdom. Psalms 111 verse 10 to 112 verse 1, it says, the fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom, and those doing them, that is the commandments of Yahweh, have a good understanding. So the fear of Yahweh is doing the commandments of Yahweh. His praise is standing forever. Praise Yah. Blessed is the man who fears Yahweh, who has greatly delighted in his commandments. So it's clear from scripture. The fear of Elohim is doing his commandments. The fear of Yahweh, when you go to Telechim, Psalms 19 verse 7, the Torah of Yahweh is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of Yahweh is sure, making wise the simple. And verse 8, it goes on to say, the statutes of Yahweh are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment or the mitzvah of Yahweh is pure, enlightening the eyes. Then you tell me that this is going to be nailed on the cross. How do you do that? When something so perfect and good, which is good for you, then you do it away with. Verse 9, Psalms 19 verse 9. The fear of Yahweh is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of Yahweh are true and righteous altogether. This is what the scriptures say about the fear of Elohim, about the Torah of Elohim. That's what scripture is saying. Now we find that the fear of Elohim is obeying his commandments, which makes us to become knowledgeable, wise, and have a good understanding. That is our only shield against deception that has come in these last days. When we fear him, we reverence him, we respect and obey him. When we read from verse 7, we see that the great agency in the message of his judgment, there is great agency in the message of his judgment. The agent is there because the hour of his judgment has come. People's attention is being called to the work of judgment, and judgment can only take place when there is a law being taken into account. How do you talk about judgment and you deny the law being there? What is the standard that you are going to be judged by? Do you see it doesn't make sense, you Christians? When you deny the Torah, you are like fools, without wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Because the very thing that you deny is the standard that shall measure your life. There's no way you can be measured by anything else. There's no way. So that law, that Torah, is the precept or statute. So when you talk about the Torah, when you talk about the law, according to the King James Version, when it says the law, check out. It's 8451 according to the Hebrew language, and that is the Torah. That is a precept. The Torah is a precept or a statute, especially the Decalogue or the Pentateuch. So when you look at it this way, that all, right, the Decalogue, which is the 10 Commandments, the precepts or the statutes, which are the laws that reinforce the 10 Commandments, the judgments, the civil laws, all these are contained in the Pentateuch, the first 5 books. So the Decalogue or the 10 Commandments can be like the contents of what is in the book, which are the chapters that are being covered in the book. So you go on each of those 10 commandments, and then you select the first one, and then you are going to read and find out laws, precepts, according to that first commandment, which are contained within this Pentateuch. That's the correct understanding of the Torah. That is the correct understanding of the Torah. Now, let's look at the author of the Torah. Let's look at the author of the Torah. We are familiar with the fact that the law is there in the Shamayim or in heaven. It was there in the Garden of Eden, right? The patriarchs had the law. We're going to read a few verses to that effect. So how do we know that the patriarchs, that is, people before the children of Yahshua are, that they had the law? If we go to Bereshit chapter 6 verse 9, it says, these are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man, right? Already, there is no way you can announce someone to be just unless there is a standard that is determining the justice, right? So Noah is said to be a just man and a perfect in his generations. So what is perfection? Perfection is measured only as there is Elohim, as there is his measure. Once you start talking about perfection, you cannot take out the Most High, because he is the epitome of perfection. And Noah walked with Elohim. As Enoch walked with Elohim, so Noah also walked with Elohim. That's Parashah chapter 6, verse 9. So what is to walk with Elohim? That is step by step. You are following who? You are following Elohim. So the leading of Elohim is what determines your life, your direction, and everything that you do. So we have a patriarch there who knew the commandments of Yahweh. In fact, in 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 5, it says, and they spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness. How could Noah be a preacher of righteousness when there is no measure of righteousness? Do you see that you fool yourselves to think that the law was given to the children of Yahshua and that it is only pertaining to the children of Yahshua? You think that you are pertained to Yahweh, the Messiah. Is the Messiah different from this law? Listen to careful. And he said, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the wicked. Why were they called wicked if there was no law? The law was there. The standard was there. Parashah chapter 26, verse 5. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. So even our father Abraham, he had the laws. And when you read in the book of Shemoth, again you are going to see that the instructions of the sanctuary that they were supposed to build, they had to mimic it from the one that they were being shown, which is in the Shamayim. So what they were putting on the earth here was a type of that which already exists in the Shamayim. Now listen, the psalmist said in Psalm 77, verse 18. So the scripture says, thy way, O Elohim, is in the sanctuary. Who is so great a Elohim as our Elohim. So the way of Yahweh is in the sanctuary. And the scripture says the way is the Torah. Right? That is the way of Yahweh. That's what the scripture defines as the way. The way. The Torah is the way. The Torah is the truth. So in the earthly sanctuary, the law was in the most set apart. Or the Torah was in the most set apart place of the sanctuary or of the temple. So this law originated with the Creator and is found in the heavens. Right. So as we have read in Psalm 77 verse 13, he says, thy way, O Elohim, is in the sanctuary. Which sanctuary? In the sanctuary in the Shamayim, in the heavens. So that is where that way is, that Torah is. It's in the sanctuary in the Shamayim. When Masha was instructed to build the earthly sanctuary, that is the earthly tabernacle, it was a copy of the great heavenly sanctuary, built not by hands of men. We read that from Exodus chapter 25, verses 5 to 9. Let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them, according to all that I show thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle and the pattern of all the instruments thereof. Even so shall you make it. So it was after the pattern of the tabernacle that they were being shown. In this earthly sanctuary, there was a type or a pattern of the true tabernacle of heaven. In it, the most set apart place was the moral Torah. Right. So we can say the 10 commandments and the statutes that reinforce the 10 commandments were kept in the ark and beside the ark respectively, which was the most set apart place. So the ark was in the most set apart place. Exodus 26:34 says, and thou shalt put the mercy seat upon the ark of the testimony in the most set apart place. So the testimony, like I said, the Torah is always referred to as the testimony, right? The mitzvahs of Yahweh are always referred as the witness, as the testimony, and these were covered by the ark in the most set apart place in the Shamayim, right? And even in the earthly sanctuary, as Masha was instructed to build. Revelation 11 verse 19 from the scriptures, Yahukaran saw the ark of the testament in the heavenly places. If we can have time to read, let's read Revelation 11 verse 19. It says, and the temple of Elohim was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament, and there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and a great hail. So the prophet, as he was shown in the Shamayim, he could see the ark of the testament, the ark of the witness in the most set apart place in the temple in the Shamayim. So Shemoth 31:18, and he gave unto Masha, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tablets of testimony, tablets of stone, written with the finger of Elohim. So Exodus 31:18, it clearly says this Torah, this law was written by Yah himself, by his own finger on the tablets of the stone. When I think about it, the very place where it is written and the very finger that writes that Torah clearly shows that this law is immutable. You cannot change it. The author is the Most High himself, who is writing on a rock to show permanence to us, his creatures. So this just on its own makes this law to become immutable. You can't change what Yahweh has written or has said by his mouth. He has got no shadow of turning. Shemot 32 verse 15, and Masha turned and went down from the mount, and the 2 tables of the testimony were in his hands. The tables were written on both sides. On the one side and on the other were they written. And the tables were the work of Elohim, and the writing was the writing of Elohim graven upon these tablets. Do you hear that? And then you come and tell us that this is done away with. Are you really sure about what you are saying? When you say this immutable law is done away with, are you sure about what you are saying? Devarim 10 verse 3, 4 and 5. I will read in your hearing. Devarim is Deuteronomy 10, right? And I made an ark of shittim wood, and hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first. When he took that law that he was given and he broke it, Yahweh again did not say, no, write it now, you must write it. No, he did not say that. He says, come, give me tablets of stone and I will write again. And so he made an ark of shittim wood and hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and went up into the mount, having the 2 tables in mine hand. And he wrote on the tables, according to the first writing, the 10 commandments which Yahweh spake unto you in the mount out of the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly, and Yahweh gave them unto me. So it's not Masha who wrote this. Yahweh wrote this. And I turned myself and came down from the mount and put the tables in the ark which I had made, and there they be as Yahweh commanded. So we can clearly see who the author of that Torah is. Yahweh wrote the Torah. He wrote the law. Shemot chapter 34 verse 1. And Yahweh said to Masha, hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and I will write upon these tables the words that were in the first tables which thou breakest. Exodus 34 verse 1 and 4. And verse 4 says, and he hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and Masha rose up early in the morning, and went up unto Mount Sinai as Yahweh had commanded him, and took in his hand the 2 tables of stone. So Moshe was just a messenger. Verse 5, and Yahweh descended in the cloud and stood with him there, and they proclaimed the name of Yahweh. I like this verse 6 and Shemot 34 verse 6 and 7. And Yahweh passed by before him, and they proclaimed, that is before Moshe, Yahweh, Yahweh Elohim, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abundant in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and upon the children's. So that is the character. That is the embodiment of the character of the Most High Yahweh. Beloved, he is a loving father. Now, Yah has got to write. He has got to write that Torah. Let's catch a break for a few minutes. Then we come back and continue with this back to basics.